Zion ground was no ordinary place. It was the sanctuary of the Most High God. People traveled from all over the world just to step foot on this holy land, knowing that they would return home with testimonies of miracles, peace, and transformation. The moment a person entered Zion ground, their burdens seemed to lift, their prayers received answers, and the presence of God filled their hearts with joy. At the center of this sacred place was Prophet Ebuka, a man anointed by God in a rare and powerful way. He carried what many called the virginity anointing, a divine gift that kept him pure in body and soul. His holiness allowed him to hear directly from God, and whenever he spoke, miracles followed immediately. The sick were healed, the barren became mothers, the hopeless found new purpose, and those trapped in darkness saw the light. It was as if God himself spoke through him, and whatever he prophesied came to pass without delay. People loved Prophet Ebuka. They admired his devotion, his purity, and the way he carried God's presence. But as the saying goes, no matter how good you are, there will always be enemies. Not everyone was happy with his growing influence. Some people, driven by jealousy and hatred, wanted to bring him down. They gathered in secret, plotting against him, spreading false stories and seeking ways to destroy his reputation. They thought that by attacking him, they could silence the grace upon his life. What they didn't realize was that fighting a man of grace is like kicking a frog. You only teach it how to jump higher. Every attack on Prophet Ebuka only made him stronger. The more they tried to bring him down, the more powerful his anointing became. His enemies soon found themselves fighting among each other, while he continued to walk in the grace of God, untouched by their evil plans. Like a man walking through the valley of the shadow of death, Prophet Ebuka feared no evil. He knew that when God is with you, no enemy can prevail against you. He did not waste time fighting back or seeking revenge. He simply kept doing God's work, and his enemies watched in frustration as he continued to rise. But the battle was far from over. His enemies would not give up so easily. They were determined to see him fall. They gathered more people, made bigger plans, and tried to strike harder. Would they succeed? Or would the grace upon Prophet Ebuka's life continue to disgrace them? Zion ground was not just a place of worship. It was a place where the power of God was undeniable. Those who tried to fight against it always faced disgrace, humiliation, and divine judgment. Over the years, many who spoke against Zion and Prophet Ebuka found themselves in terrible situations. Some lost their minds, wandering the streets in madness that no doctor could cure. Others fell sick with mysterious illnesses that no medicine could heal. But the most incredible part of it all was that the same people who mocked Zion often found themselves running back to it, desperate for healing. And because the God of Zion is a merciful God, he never turned them away. When they returned, broken and humbled, he healed them. But before sending them home, he gave them a warning: go and sin no more. This was the power of Zion, a place where enemies turned into believers, and sinners became testimonies of God's mercy. Prophet Ebuka was not just a man of miracles, he was also a man of wisdom. His teachings transformed lives, especially among the youth. He always warned young women, saying, never sleep with a married man. Never give your body to a man before marriage. Keep yourself pure, and God will give you the best husband, one that will bring joy and not sorrow. To the young men, he gave a similar message: stay away from women who are not your wife. Sexual sin reduces a man's grace and weakens his destiny. Be patient, be holy, and when the time is right, God will give you the right woman. He also warned them about an act that many ignored: using their tongues on each other's bodies in immoral ways. Do not put your tongue where it does not belong. It destroys grace, he would say. His words were not just empty teachings. They carried divine power. Many who listened and obeyed later came back with testimonies of how their lives changed. They found true love, experienced peace in their marriages, and enjoyed the blessings of God. Testimonies of transformation. So many people, young and old, stepped forward to share their stories. Some were once wild and rebellious, living sinful lives without care. But after encountering the fire of God at Zion ground, they became completely different people. Many ladies who once lived in hotels, selling their bodies to survive, stood before the congregation with tears of joy, saying, I was lost, but God found me. Today, I live a life that pleases him." Some young men who once spent their days chasing women and wasting their destinies confessed, "I was blind, but now I see. Since I obeyed the teachings of Prophet Ebuka, my life has changed completely." There was something powerful about Prophet Ebuka's presence. Whenever he stepped out to preach, his eyes carried fire, a fire so intense that demons could not withstand it. Those possessed by evil spirits would begin to scream and tremble the moment they looked at him. Some would fall to the ground, shaking violently as the power of God burned the demons out of them. Even those who doubted the power of Zion could not deny what they saw with their own eyes. They came as critics, but left as believers, testifying that God truly lived in Zion ground. The battle continues. But as Zion grew stronger, its enemies also grew bolder. Some people still gathered in secret, plotting against Prophet Ebuka. They were determined to stop him, to silence his teachings, and to bring down Zion ground. Would they succeed? Or would the God of Zion prove once again that no one can fight grace and win? The power and grace in Zion were undeniable, but they also attracted jealousy, envy, and hatred. Some people could not stand to see Zion ground flourish, nor could they bear to watch Prophet Ebuka rise in the glory of God. So, in their bitterness, they plotted evil against him, hoping to bring him and Zion to shame. But they forgot one thing: the God of Zion sees everything. Before the enemies could even carry out their plans, God had already revealed them to his servant, Prophet Ebuka. One day, the man of God stood before the Zionites and prophesied, "An evil plan is being made against Zion and against me, but grace will disgrace those involved. Mark my words, what they plan in secret will be exposed for all to see." The congregation listened and prayed, trusting that God's grace would always prevail. The false testimony that shook Zion. Barely a month after Prophet Ebuka's prophecy, the enemy struck. A young lady known as Lover stepped forward at Zion ground to share a testimony. With tears in her eyes and a grateful voice, she declared, "The great Prophet Ebuka prayed for me, and today I own a mansion. I give all glory to the God of Zion." The Zionites erupted in joy. Testimonies were a normal part of Zion ground, and every time one was given, the people claimed it with faith, knowing that the same God who did it for one person could do it for them too. As usual, Prophet Ebuka prayed over the testimony, and the Zionites celebrated. But unknown to them, it was all a lie. A few days later, the truth came out. The young woman, Lover, had not bought a mansion. She was only a seller of underwear in an eastern state. Worse still, she was caught in a lie when the real owner of the house she claimed as hers exposed her. Zion and Prophet Ebuka under attack. As soon as the news broke, social media went wild. People who already envied Zion and Prophet Ebuka pounced on the story. "Zion ground is fake," they shouted. "Prophet Ebuka arranges testimonies to deceive people." The enemies of Zion saw this as an opportunity to tarnish the ministry. They spread rumors, twisted the story, and made it the biggest topic in town. But Prophet Ebuka remained calm. He gathered the Zionites and spoke with confidence. "Let them say whatever they want. The God of Zion will surely vindicate us. Grace can never be disgraced." And just as he said, God began to expose the truth one by one. The confession that shocked the world. The real owner of the house took action and had Lover arrested for lying about his mansion. Under pressure, she confessed everything. "I was never sent by Zion or Prophet Ebuka. No one arranged my testimony. I gave it with faith, believing that one day it would become mine." This confession shook the world. The same people who had mocked Zion and Prophet Ebuka now saw that they were innocent. The false accusations collapsed like a house of cards. The enemies of Zion were silenced, and once again, grace had won, the victory of Zion and the power of grace. This incident became a powerful lesson for all who witnessed it. Zion had been tested, but instead of falling, it rose higher than before. Lessons to learn from this story. 1. You cannot fight grace and win. No matter how people try to bring down a child of God, grace will always lift them higher. 2. God sees everything. When enemies plot evil, they forget that God watches and reveals secrets to his servants. 3. Truth will always prevail. Lies may spread quickly, but the truth always comes to light in the end. 4. Faith is powerful, but honesty is key. The young woman gave a false testimony out of faith, but faith must be accompanied by truth. A thank you to my viewers. Thank you for following this powerful story about the grace of Zion Ground. If this message has inspired or blessed you, I invite you to subscribe to my YouTube channel and stay connected for more amazing stories. Zion Ground is a place of miracles, transformation, and divine power, and I will continue to share stories that uplift and encourage your faith. Hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and stick with me for more powerful content. May the grace of Zion continue to uplift you. God bless you all.